You're broke, you're fast, and somebody noticed. You didn't go looking for this. A guy at the gym, a friend, a phone number, scratched on the back of a receipt. Show up, fight, get paid. That's the whole pitch. No contract, no corner, no insurance, no last name. You pull up to a warehouse at 2 a.m. No ring, no seats, just a circle of men who paid cash to stand there, a bare concrete floor, and a stranger across from you who got the same phone call you did. The fight lasts 4 minutes. You win. Someone folds $200 inside a rubber band and presses it into your hand. Nobody asks your name. Nobody claps. You drive home alone with a split lip and cash that doesn't exist on paper. You come back the next week. That's not the story. That's the mistake. The story starts with the return. $200 becomes 500. 500 becomes 1,000. The math is simple, and the math is the trap. By the third fight, you have a handler, not a manager, not a coach, just a guy who texts you an address and takes 20% of whatever you walk out with. You never learned his last name. You never asked. You start to notice the structure underneath the chaos. There are rules here. No biting. No weapons. You stop when the man stops moving. Nobody writes these down. Nobody has to. Everyone already knows. The locations rotate, different warehouse, different parking lot, different basement, but the same circle, the same cash, the same silence after. You tell yourself you're just fighting, that this is just a faster version of what you were already doing at the gym. But someone is running this. Someone is counting money you will never see. The warehouses get nicer. The crowds get quieter. That's how you know the money got bigger. You start noticing the men watching, not the hoodies, the other ones. Men in clean jackets, standing near the back, checking phones, saying nothing. Men who drove here in cars that cost more than your rent for 3 years. They aren't here for the sport. There is no sport. They're here because someone told them the odds, and they liked the number. Betting is the engine. The fights are the product. You are the product. There are organizers, spotters, collectors, a whole invisible hierarchy operating just outside. The circle of light. You never meet the top. You only ever meet the layer just above you, and only when they need something. You start to understand the math from their side. You make 1,000. The room makes 10. Times that before the second round ends. You are not a fighter. You are a line item. The rib goes first. You tape it yourself with sports wrap from a gas station and don't tell anyone. Then the headaches start. Not the sharp kind. The dull, constant kind that sit behind your eyes for days after a fight. You sleep 12 hours and wake up exhausted. You drive home one night and realize you don't remember the last 4 exits. You can't go to a doctor. A doctor asks questions. Questions become records. Records become problems. So you manage it. Ice, ibuprofen, sleep when you can. You tell yourself every fighter deals with this. That pain is just the cost of the work. But you start carrying it home. Short fuse, wrong hours. You snap at people who don't deserve it. You stop returning calls. You tell yourself you're focused, disciplined, private. You aren't. You're just protecting the secret. You tell your handler you need a month off. He listens, he nods, he texts you an address. 2 days later, you show up because the alternative isn't clear, and the unclear alternative is the point. Someone placed a serious bet on your next fight. Not a small number, a number with implications. You don't know who. You don't ask. You just understand that the fight is happening, and you are fighting in it. This is when you realize the exit isn't where you thought it was. You hear about another fighter, older guy, good record, tried to walk away 6 months ago. Nobody says what happened to him directly. They don't have to, the way the sentence trails. Off does the work. You aren't a participant anymore. You're an asset. Your inventory on a shelf. Inventory doesn't choose when it gets moved. Inventory doesn't negotiate. Inventory sits and waits and gets used when someone decides it's time. You wait. The night it ends fast. You take a blow you don't recover from. Not a clean knockout, something worse. You're conscious, but you aren't right, and the men around you know the difference. Someone makes a call, not an ambulance, a car. You get driven to an emergency room entrance and left at the curb like a package. You wake up under fluorescent lights with a nurse asking what happened. You don't have an answer that works. You fell. You were in an accident. The story doesn't hold, and she knows it and writes something down anyway. By the time you're stable, the organizers are gone. Numbers disconnected. Warehouse empty. Men with clean jackets vanished back into whatever legitimate life they maintain on paper. You are left in a hospital bed inside the wreckage of something that officially never existed. No receipts, no records, no one coming to check on you. You're back where you started. Broke, but now there's damage that wasn't there before. The cash is gone. You spent it on rent and food and convincing yourself it was temporary. The injuries stayed. The headaches didn't leave with the money. The sleep doesn't come clean anymore. Here's what you know now that you didn't know then. The money was never yours. It was a leash with a number attached. Every dollar pulled you one fight deeper into a system that was designed to use you until you stopped being useful. You were not a participant. You were raw material. The men who ran it are already rebuilding. New warehouse, new city, new fighters who are broke and fast and hungry enough to stop asking questions. Right now, somewhere, another guy's getting a phone number on the back of a receipt. He thinks it's an opportunity. It isn't. It's an invoice. And he's the one who's going to pay it. Don't be him.